Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Let's sum up the current situation. We're recording our program earlier this week, 2 days early, because of the summer vacation schedule at Genesis Communications Network. So let's now focus. What has changed? The watershed is the mid-August point of 2009, and the result is that Obama is now collapsing much faster than Carter, his predecessor as trilateral puppet, banker's boy in the White House. And this is basically two things. Over the weekend of the 15th and the 16th, we had these statements by Sibelius, the exterminating angel, the cold and detached lady who runs the Health and Human Services, that the public plan is not essential. We don't need it. And over the same weekend, in one of his town halls in the western states, Obama himself says the public plan is not the be-all and end-all, not the totality of health care reform, but just a tiny sliver. This means then the knife has been stabbed into the back of the Democratic base. These are people who didn't want a public plan. They wanted single payer. They wanted Medicare for all. That's the correct demand, Medicare for all. They're a little bit uncertain how to pay for it. It's interesting. The Democratic Party could have been campaigning, as has been said now, for the past 15 years. They could have been demanding Medicare for all. That's a much better slogan than single payer. Single payer, who knows what that means? Medicare for all, it's very concrete. It's very tangible. It has a track record. You can evaluate it. Medicare has cut the death rate among people over 65 by 1/5. That is a huge savings of human life and years lived by Americans and other persons in our jurisdiction. But we didn't get that from the Democratic Party, needless to say. So it's no surprise that on the weekend of the 15th to the 16th, Obama and Sibelius signal that the public plan is being deep-sixed. Now, this was always the plan. You can read this in the call for the left opposition. It's clear. We have the scenario coming from Henry Aaron of the Brookings Institution 10 days before all this, 10 days to 2 weeks actually, where he says, the scenario is simply this: make a lot of noise about the public plan and then give it up. Of course, this is what Obama's doing, is even preventive surrender. Now, people will point out that Obama and his gang had been signaling for months, certainly going back to we have a tabulation here in the Washington Post. But I guess one of the key moments, I think, is in June when Obama goes to Moscow. Rambozo Emanuel, the knife-wielding, dead fish-sending White House chief of staff, Rambozo had made a statement saying that the public plan is expendable, and Obama had wobbled, and then from Moscow had said, no, we really want the public plan. So the signals, the trial balloons, the ballon d'essai from this were coming forward the whole time. It's just that the Obama maniacs, the Kool-Aid drinkers, the lemming legions, could not hear. I think this is one of the main results of this past weekend, is that the lemming legions and Kool-Aid fanatics can now begin to hear somewhat. They still have impaired hearing. They don't understand half of or three-quarters of what's going on. But now the element of doubt has crept in. The lemming leader Olbermann has come on the air saying, for the first time, it looks to me like Obama has no idea where he is or what he's doing. And we'll go through some editorial comments about these things in the same way. So the betrayal, the massive, cynical, calculated betrayal of the Democratic base on the weekend of the 15th and the 16th is highly indicative. And then on Monday the 17th, this is the old 1-2. The first one was the health care betrayal, and the second one now is warmongering, as in Afghanistan escalation, endless war, torture, the war criminal McChrystal, Obama's hand-picked candidate to be the commander in Afghanistan, a torturing war criminal left over from the hot phase of Iraq. So Obama now goes to the meeting of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in Phoenix and gives a speech worthy of Bush, worthy of Cheney, Obama channels Bush and Cheney in Phoenix, where you look at this speech, he's got 9/11 in there. He's got new 9/11. He says if we don't clean out the Taliban in Afghanistan, we face a new 9/11. There will be a new 9/11. Unbelievable. 9/11 people, please take note. This is now a change. This is actually a shift. I'm the first one to register it when it happens. Obama had stayed away from that stuff quite studiously. And indeed, the implications here may be deeper than just the demagogy and verbiage coming out of Obama's mouth. We may now be seeing, as this administration crumbles, we may now see a kind of reversion to the Pavlovian reflexes built up under Bush-Cheney. And, of course, that's a big problem because that's an invitation to false flag. We have to keep our eye on that. Well, maybe we have time for that later, too. But be warned, right? Increase the vigilance. Monitor the drills, above all, because that's how it's done, as I showed exhaustively and conclusively in 9/11 synthetic terror made in USA. So Bush essentially channels Obama channels Bush and Cheney in Phoenix for the veterans of foreign wars, even as the gun-toting characters cavort outside. I think a lot of these people are sent, right? They're essentially sent in as media provocateurs, right? They give MSNBC grist for the mill. They can say, look, did you see that guy with a machine gun and a pistol, and he's 200 yards from our president, and on and on and on. I think this kind of theatrics quite clear. In other words, a circus is staged, right, with all kinds of things being brought in, right? A three-ring circus where you've got the left-wing agitators, the right-wing agitators, and then the gun agitators, and they're all parading there outside of Obama's speech. So that, I think, was a wake-up call to a lot of people in the peace movement. But now you put these two things together. The massive, systematic, cynical betrayal of the healthcare front, and now the increasingly blatant, arrogant, warmongering, bloodthirsty, reactionary policy on Afghanistan and indeed related areas. Don't forget Georgia. Don't forget Ukraine. Don't forget Poland. My God, the Polish missile crisis looks closer than ever in the light of this kind of rhetoric from Obama. You can say this is a reaction to try to shore up the collapsing right flank. But, of course, in shoring up the collapsing right flank, Obama is now exposing the flank that is much more dangerous for him in the short to medium run, in particular, the left flank, the peace movement flank. And that is where I think people have got to become active. So let's now look. We'll look in the next segment, and we're going to go through some of these very, very interesting statements from Cindy Sheehan and the guidance that these give to the renascent, we hope, peace movement.